Tom Dickson again. I'm starting my critique of the grassroots part of Challenge 2. And I just wanted to say I'm being a lot easier on you guys than the champions. My critiques are ranging from 2.5 to 4, I think. Um, but I just wanted to say, in general, I noticed with you guys, really start to think about what the language of skating is in its vocabulary. And a general comment I have to say is don't paraphrase the English book, write your own novel. Because in general I felt a lot of you had some feeling in parts, but it didn't necessarily embellish this language of skating that we've been asked to judge. So I'm really holding your knowledge and your usage of that vocabulary, that body of work that we have as skaters available to us, and ask you to turn it into your own words. So let me start with Katie, Tez Love. Her piece was called Journey Home. And in this, you mentioned that you came home from Italy, and I would imagine you had a lot of insight into cultural differences, and probably a lot of things happened to you there that wouldn't happen in the United States. I want to see in coming home what you brought back with you. In general, I don't want to see step sequences. I saw that a couple times. And like I said, don't paraphrase the English book or the Italian book in this case. I want to see you learn how to turn the vocabulary into your own literary work. The best part, taking that in consideration, was the hydroblade with the low traveling turns and the knee slide. This number one took me by surprise. It used your strength and technique as a skater to pull it off. It showed originality. It was some of the best spatial awareness that you had going on in the choreography, and it showed how to use curves and edges in an unusual way. So again, it's like, yes, we can see a beautifully executed edge or two, but you took it into a different place spatially, and you used some nice level changes. Start to explore and use depth and resistance more in your choreography. Get deeper into your space. Sometimes to find deeper out of space, you have to get more into your own center space, where your center and your weight is. Explore resistance of movement, like different liquids, the difference between moving through water and lava that's about to harden. Tap into that creativity, use those basics for your creativity, and go with it. Another part I liked was the tap attitude leap. Again, it came as a surprise, and it really reached out and grabbed me. So try and find more of those moments where it utilizes your strengths, and perhaps work on the weaknesses, which would be to bring some of this vocabulary in and make it your own. But other than that, good job. I gave you a 2.5 stars. The next piece is by Samantha Stevens, and this was called Heartbeat Till the End. There's some really good things in this, Samantha. I called it a 3-turn on point to the back chasses. Again, I thought that was combining some of the languages of dance, working on point, and some of the language of skating with the back chasses. There's a nice sense of phrasing and use of isolations. I liked your Ina Bowers that had turns within the Ina Bauer. Skating, for me, though, as the music got bigger, the language of your skating got weaker, so I thought the more subtle, nuanced parts spoke more, and as you started to cover the ice and get bigger in your skating, the language became less defined, which is sort of what I said as a general statement in the beginning about all of you guys doing this challenge. Samantha, the part that really worked for me was actually in the beginning. You did all this kind of interesting isolation, which is nice. It's right out of sort of a dance language. But then what I did like is you took it into edges, like I said, with the Ina Bowers. It was that like bum, bum, ba da 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 da, and you created turns with the Ina Bauer, and then you sort of pulled out of it and pulled the edge. So then I started to feel that the sensation of how you pull and press on edges was part of the phrasing and the energy of the music. So that was a great part. Go with that. Like I said, as you start to skate, all that gets a little bit diluted. So really go back and look at the beginning, and I think that was great. Go with that. So I gave you the 3 stars. If you could take some of what I was talking about in that beginning and embellish it through the whole program, it would be higher for me, but great job. The next one is Pearson Hunt, and she choreographed Dream On. And yes, Pearson, you used a forward right inside mohawk. I don't know if you knew that. but it was actually one of the ones I spoke of that rotates like a bracket, where you rotate against a circle, so great job. Like those kind of things really stand out for me when I'm judging in these terms about using the language of skating. Another great thing there was when you think about the rhythm and phrasing of this bum, 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 and it went like bum, bum, ba-da, and you did the change of foot cabriole immediately followed by a 3-turn, which I thought was, again, a great use of edge control and taking our edges and our steps and making an actual dance out of it that was one with the music. So really good job right there. Like my comment in the beginning, where I felt though you went a little bit weak is when you had to skate out. So again, some of this language got diffused and diluted, and I felt maybe that you fell into the pattern of looking like you're doing step sequences. In fact, that section I talked about in the beginning with the change foot cabriole 3-turn eventually became something that started to feel circular, which was a little bit of a disappointment for me. Same thing with a really nice edge sequence at the end where you were showing some nice curves and edge control. Again, start to embellish that. The music's going bum 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 bum. So I wanted to see you on one foot, like learn how to make that rhythmical, learn how to give it a change of dynamics. So experiment with that. I gave you a 3-star. I think if you could learn to take those great skating skills and do more with it, that would get me more up into the 4 and the 5. Another great part, which I really loved, was, and it felt like it interpreted the pulsing feeling of the music, was you did a left back inside loop, and it had these like sort of edge pulses, and then what I loved is the knee turn on the ice, but actually your left foot came out and did a left back inside 3-turn. So again, it was taking a move and imbuing it with a sense of skating, which I really appreciate. So great job. Beautiful spiral. The problem I had in the beautiful spiral section is that this is where the guitar comes in and really sort of takes over the melody, and I felt like the spiral needed more. And how you got there, I want to start to sort of build emotion and momentum and phrase the spiral differently. Maybe challenge yourself to pull on the edge and not just sustain it. So again, it gets into that deconstruction, learn how to glide on an edge, then do something a little deeper with it, because I felt like, because of the guitar that's fairly wild, that it needed that there. Beautiful Wally. Love the edge hold skid, shows edge control, and it shows that you're a good enough skater to skid on that edge and still retain your flow. But having said that, I have to say the part that got you to the Wally was sort of non sequitur for me. It didn't have anything to do with the music. And especially when you see that for the first time, you see some sort of nothing and then this wonderful section. So again, learn how to tie all that together, learn how to make the most basic skating moves not basic. I guess what I'm trying to say is, learn how to make the easy unforgettable, and conversely learn how to make the impossible effortless. So the easy flowing edge at the end, make it unforgettable. Make me remember something of it other than it had some nice turns and edge quality to it. And in your big, faster skating, learn how to do difficult things and make it effortless. I want to feel the way you whisper across the ice, even if a dynamic is strong. I think if you do that, you'll really improve your sense of choreography, and it would get a higher score for me, but I thought it was a great job, and congratulations. Next is Amy Huffman, Stairway to Heaven. I really liked, what I liked best about you, Amy, was your sense of adventure. You were maybe more than anyone else really kind of experimenting and trying some things out. I loved the beginning. You did these like tuck edges on ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum, where you were using back left inside pulls, hold, pull. Great use of 1-foot skating that doesn't feel like 1-foot skating. I felt like it was a dance at that moment. Same thing with the back arabesques. You did a back arabesque and a hold and repeated it, but same back arabesque and hold. So another example of using your body, expanding into space, edge control, but creating rhythmical phrasing so that it became a dance. Love the skid fouette, where you do the skid on the right foot and turn half a turn on the toe. It's combining the feeling of a 3-turn with a skid and element of dance sort of like a fouette turn on point. And what I liked about that is that at no time did I feel it detracted from your flow. It had a sense of momentum. And where I said I loved your sort of experimentation, also for me became a little bit of a weakness when you got into the wilder, crazier music. I like how you use a lot of toe work, but it almost got to the point for me where I wasn't sure where you were going with it. Almost like you're improvising. I don't know how set all that was. Improvising is great, but you want to take that improvisation and take the essence of it, but give it a greater sense of especially direction. Sometimes I felt you got a little bit lost on your toes, and at some point I thought the toes got a little too much. I want to see you learn how to create really tight, powerful edges that might have the same dynamic impact as the toe steps, and intermingle those, use your universal language to create maybe a better balance there, The other thing is that I felt eventually the pattern started to go up and down the ice, so that became predictable. Where again, the wild, crazy toe dancing wasn't predictable, but I wanted to feel stronger sense of connection and direction in watching it. So I gave you a 3.5. I think if it weren't for the patterns, and perhaps I want to see you experiment more, creating new different elements. Remember, this challenge was not to use any identifiable elements from the IJS, but I think you're talented enough. I wanted to see some inventions, some kind of leaps, some kind of spins. So take your sense of wanting to explore new things and take it a little further that way, so that I get a more virtuoso-like feeling from your skating, and it will go higher than a 3.5. But good job, and you're on the right direction. The next piece is Aaron Comes. I gave you a 4 on this. You got the highest star rating from me. And my critique is completely in the interpretation. I thought you did a great job of constructing the program and getting some of the our language of skating in there without looking like I say, paraphrasing the textbook. Another great part was very simple at the end. Just simple crossovers that went from deeper, slower to lighter, faster, that led to the wonderful back penché right on the violin note. Again, a good example of simple skating but phrased. You make simple things memorable, unforgettable, and you did that. So that was a great. Go with that more. Put more of that into the beginning. I have to say the one part that didn't quite work for me was the big, fabulous crescendo where just you feel like all the tension of this is let loose. I felt what you did was sort of inconsequential. I think you could come up with something much more unforgettable there, and it was just slightly off the phrasing, where the other parts I thought you were phrasing it beautifully. So maybe rework that part. Again, I gave you the highest rating from my mind anyway, level 4. I think if you had just blown me away in that part that's so emotional, it could have been a 5. Work on depth in your space alone as a sense of choreography, so it's not just what you do tangibly, it's what you do from the inside out, sort of from a mental perspective, and make exactly what you do sort of reach out and grab me a little more. Again, that's what I would say is preventing this from being a 5, but very good job with the construction. I thought that you made everything you did come from yourself. It's just I want to know a little bit more why it is. Why are you skating to oblivion? Get deeper, stronger into your emotion and let that sort of reverberate onto your blade. After all, this is a challenge to connect the body and the blade. Very good job. Keep up the good work.